Yes, a very good Abend to each and every one of us, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lera Fred, and I believe that all of you are also doing fine, right? Right. Now, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to find somewhere to write because in a moment, I want us to break down some of the common mistakes people normally make when they're doing their Sprechen examination. Okay. So, our focus here is going to be on the Sprechen, and I want us to specifically point out on some of the mistakes people normally make whenever they're doing their Sprechen examination. Okay. All right. Just get somewhere to write. For those who don't know me, just call me Teacher Fred. Okay. Now, first and foremost, when doing the Sprechen, that is the A1 Sprechen, there are these commonly used words. And of course, there are also those words that we tend to either forget the spelling or mispronounce them. So let's get to see them. Now, the first word that I'd like us to note is the word Sprache. This one here. This is the first word I'd like us to see. Sprache. Now, this one is always beginning with a capital S. Sprache, it's a noun. All right. So that in plural, you will proceed to add an N to it. Sprachen. What is the meaning? Now, this one simply means language. Language. So that in plural is when you add an S, okay? Sprache. Plural. Sprachen. Language, languages, okay? Now, the other one that people confuse it with is the verb sprechen. Do you now see the difference? Now, the other one is always beginning with a capital S. Sprache. This one always begins with a capital S because it's a noun, and the noun should always begin in a capital. But this one here is normally small s. Sprechen. Sprechen. So sprechen meaning to speak. Okay, to speak. So the point where people make mistake is that you find someone say ich sprache. Ich sprache. That is incorrect. Instead, you would say, instead you proceed to say ich spreche. All right, ich spreche and not ich sprache. Do you now see the difference? This one is a noun, yet this one here is a verb. All right. Okay, so still on the Sprache. Now, how do you say mother tongue? Do you know how to say mother tongue? How do you say mother tongue? We call it Mutter, Sprache. Muttersprache. Now, Muttersprache is now the mother tongue. Muttersprache. And how about foreign language? Foreign language, which is now referred to as Fremdsprache. Fremdsprache. So these ones are all nouns taken from Sprache. If it's one, if it's plural, Sprachen, languages, right? And then the verb we've said is sprechen, to speak. We also have Muttersprache, mother tongue. Then there's the Fremdsprache, the foreign language. So how do you ask somebody the question, which languages do you speak? You want to ask somebody, which languages do you speak? Or how many languages can you speak? So how do you proceed to ask the person the question? Now, if I'm to ask you the languages that you speak, I would use the following phrase. For those of us who are just tuning in, feel free to share which level are you currently in. Are you in A1? Are you in A2? Feel free to share below in the comments. So, which languages do you speak? You would ask with welche welche Sprachen, capital S, and then the sprechen, welche Sprachen sprechen Sie? I can see Dorcas says A1, willkommen. Yeah? Welche Sprachen sprechen Sie? So the point here is that this one is always in capital. This one is always going to begin in capital, okay? Because it's a noun. But the other one is always going to be in small, okay? So, welche Sprachen sprechen Sie? And then I proceed to say, ich spreche, and then you could mention the language you speak. For example, you could say English. Ich spreche Englisch, Deutsch. Ich spreche Englisch, Deutsch und you could add maybe we could say Swahili. Okay, so I hope you're seeing the point that the point Sprache is always capital, but Sprechen is small. Now I could also ask you, how many languages do you speak? So how do you ask somebody, how many languages do you speak? That is, wie viele Sprachen, wie viele Sprachen sprechen Sie? Wie viele Sprachen sprechen Sie? So, how many languages do you speak? And then you proceed to mention, ich spreche 5 Sprachen. Ich spreche 3 Sprachen. So this will take you back to this. Don't forget the 2. Sprache, languages, sprechen, to speak. Okay? Muttersprache, mother tongue, and of course, Fremdsprache, which is now the foreign language. Now, there are also some other phrases you could use when you want to describe the depth of your language knowledge. You want to say perfect, not perfect, fluent. Now, these are the phrases you would use. So I could say perfect, So I say, mein Deutsch ist perfekt. Oder fließend. Now, fließend means fluent. Mein Deutsch ist fließend. Okay, perfect oder fließend. Now, you could also simply say gut or nicht gut. Es ist gut oder es ist nicht gut. Okay, gut oder nicht gut. Which other one? Now, I could also say ein bisschen. Ein bisschen. Now, ein bisschen simply means a little, right? Ein bisschen. When you say ich spreche, now there's an example from Caroline says, ich spreche bisschen Deutsch, a little German, right? Now, sometimes you could use ein bisschen or even wenig, which is also little. I speak little German. Ich spreche wenig Deutsch oder etc. So those are some of the phrases you could use to describe the depth of your specific language knowledge. Okay. So as you also get to tune in, kindly feel free to share below. Welche Sprachen sprechen Sie? And also mention, warum lernen Sie Deutsch? Warum lernen Sie Deutsch? Why are you learning German? Is it for work or for family? Another phrase that people also get to get wrongly is Fahrrad. Now I have the phrase Fahrrad, fahren. Fahrrad, fahren. Now you're saying this is capital F. Okay. Now there's Samuel says, meine Muttersprache ist Tui, aber ich spreche auch gut Englisch und ein bisschen Deutsch. Das ist von Samuel, sehr gut gemacht, yeah? So the point on Fahrrad, you can see it's capital F right here, but here is small f as the verb. So I want to say, I am riding a bicycle. With this one, you could say, ich fahre Fahrrad. Ich fahre Fahrrad. Now, of course, one could go ahead and add an article. Ich fahre ein Fahrrad. Or ich fahre das Fahrrad. That is also okay. Now, besides me using Fahrrad fahren, I could also use Rad fahren. That is also okay. Rad fahren. So that you now say, ich fahre Rad. Ich fahre Rad. I am riding a bicycle. Now, the third possible one is also Rad. Look at the three possible solutions. Fahrrad fahren, Rad fahren, or I use this as a separable verb, Rad fahren. That is also still okay. Okay. Now this one is a small r used as a separable verb. Ich fahre Rad. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at another example. The two words that people also confuse is, how do we call a library in German? How do we call library and Bible? Now the word is die Bibliothek. Bibliothek. That is the library. But the other one that people confuse it with is die Bibel. So there's the Bibliothek, library, and then the Die Bibel, which is now the Bible. Okay, so Bibliothek, TH. They say that in German there is no TH. Don't say Bibliothek. Instead you say Bibliothek. Okay, Bibliothek. Okay, right. So at this point, what I'd like you to do then is, I want us to take some sentence and try translating. I'll be giving us some English sentence to see how we are able to translate them in German. Okay. Now here's my first sentence. So I want to say, the children are playing football. The children are playing. The children are playing football. So how would you translate this into German as you pay close attention to the verb conjugation and the sort? The children are playing football. I will give a shout out to the person who will score it first. The children are playing football. The children are playing football. I will give a hint. Children, plural. Die Kinder. Okay. Right. There is an answer from someone. That is Samuel. Samuel says like this: Die Kinder sind Fußball spielen. Samuel, you almost scored it. Now what we will do is we will replace the sind with the spielen, so that, unlike in English, I will say are playing. For them, they will say, die Kinder spielen. Die Kinder spielen. Then I have the Fußball. Die Kinder spielen Fußball. The children are playing football. Okay, let's carry on. Now, in the following one, I want us to try and use it in the past tense. How would you say the following? It's in the past tense that the father wrote. The father wrote the email. The father wrote the email. So mark you, this is now in the past tense. The father wrote the email. This is mostly going to be effective in your schreiben or even sprechen. Wrote. Now, my answer is going to be as follows. The father, which is now masculine, becomes der Vater, right? Der Vater, someone says der Vater hat E-Mail geschrieben. That's correct. Der Vater hat, someone has got it. He said, der Vater hat E-Mail, the E-Mail. Der Vater hat die E-Mail geschrieben. Der Vater hat die E-Mail geschrieben. Now, this one would mean that the father has written the email. The father has written the email. But now if I want to say the father wrote the email, you would now say der Vater schrieb. Der Vater schrieb die E-Mail. Der Vater schrieb the email. So remember that we have the present, the past, and then the perfect. So it should now become der Vater schrieb the email. The father wrote the email. Okay, so I want to give us the last sentence. I always advocate translating, having the ability to translate sentences is a nice way of practicing your ability to form sentences auf Deutsch. Now, let me give us the last sentence for the evening. Now, the last one says like this, that Peter and Maria are traveling. Peter and Maria are traveling to Europe. Are traveling to Europe. Peter and Maria are traveling to Europe. Now I'm going to be testing on to. Peter and Maria are traveling to Europe. Now, in this case, as you can note, there are two, right? So therefore, it's going to affect the ending of my verb. I should now proceed and say, Peter und. So Peter und Maria. Samuel, you try saying that Peter und Maria sind nach Europa gefahren. Now, because it's in present, now Samuel, this one you've said is in the past. So because it's in present, are traveling, we would say Peter und Maria, present tense, fahren. Peter und Maria fahren to Europe. Nach Europa. Peter und Maria fahren nach Europa. Peter and Maria are traveling to Europe. Okay. Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, that was a short reminder on the various words that people tend to prohibit. For those who missed, I would recommend as we upload this, you'll be able to catch up on the various words that we talked about here. Well then, some of you asked, how can one enroll? I asked initially, are you in A1, A2, B1, B2, whether C1 or C2? Kindly feel free to comment below and we'll be able to guide you to the class for you to join. Okay, so let me say, das ist alles für heute. Tschüss und gute Nacht.